share her stories, her triumphs, her struggles, and the lessons she's learned along her path. And my goal as your host is to bring topics to you that are relevant and encouraging, because I want you to be inspired to be the hero of your own story. Or in the case of today, the hero of your own kitchen, pantry, closet, whatever you want. And this is why I introduce you to brave women and people doing hard things like Cindy, cleaning and organizing and all the things that we have her doing in our homes, or she's suggesting for us to do. So I'm excited to introduce you to her today. And I'll give you her formal bio here. Cindy Vanhoff is an organizer and productivity specialist. She helps busy women simplify their lives so they can get busy with what really matters. Cindy started her business, Reclaiming Spaces, 14 years ago, or Reclaim Spaces. She has since then helped organize many people's businesses and personal spaces. Cindy's favorite thing to organize are kitchens and calendars. Her favorite part of helping others get organized is to experience the change it makes in their lives. From being overwhelmed with it all to being empowered and in control of their space and their time. And I can just tell you, I personally worked with Cindy. She helped me organize my kitchen, and my house is built in 1998, and there's no like pull-out drawers or beautiful cabinet things going on. It was chaotic and a mess, but that was maybe 5 years ago. And all of the things that Cindy has done for us in terms of giving us suggestions and then letting us execute on those suggestions has stuck to this day and made my life so much better in terms of organization in the kitchen. So thank you, Cindy, for that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know. It is pretty cool. I loved it. So yeah, just so you know, your job was well done because we are still sticking with it. So I love it. Yeah. Why go back from a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So Cindy, one of the first questions I always like to ask people on the No Bad Day show is just to tell us a little bit more about who you are and your background and the really where you grew up and what makes you into the woman that you are today. I know that's a long drawn out question, but
that's
it really gets you talking. So we're going to go from there. How about that?
Okay. So I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I had two sisters, a mom and a dad. And basically it was, I was a real busy kid. I did a lot of things. I swam, I played piano, I went to school, I was a campfire girl. So tons of things to do. And so that's basically how I grew up. Like my whole life, I was busy, busy, busy. And things were pretty chaotic at my home. The funny thing is, being that busy helped me to deal with the chaos in my home. It was like I had a routine every day. So I basically knew what was going to happen when at home. Oftentimes I didn't know what was going to happen. So I grew up in Portland. I lived there till I was 20. I got married when I was 20, had a child when I was 21, and then I had another one when I was 25. And then I got divorced. So I was a single parent for 8 years. And then I met my amazing husband. It was in Pendleton, Oregon. So in the meantime, I got a job I went to college and got a job as a drafting tech, which is a lot of space planning, a lot of putting things in order. And then we moved to Spokane, and I didn't want to work for anybody ever again. I was like, because I can do it so much better. And so at that time, I think organizing shows were pretty popular. And I'm like, I can do that. I love to do that. And so I went to, I think it was a 3-day course down in Portland where we actually learned about being a business owner. And then we did a trial organizing experience. And the gal that ran the school, she's like, oh my gosh, you're so meant to do this. So, which was very validating because I knew I loved it, but there's a lot of psychology and stuff involved. So, permission, those kinds of things that you do. So I started that 14 years ago and have started kind of in small business, working with small business owners, but all small business owners have homes. And I found out that I love working in homes.
Oh, that's great.
So that's a quick overview of this long life I've led.
So your business is called Reclaim Spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And at first you started working with small businesses. Tell me more about what you do with people who own small businesses. Do you still work in that space, or are you now more in the home?
So I do work with small business owners. But I don't, so it's not the business per se, it's the whole business, it's people within the business. So if they're struggling with systems or disorganization in their area, then I'll work with one-on-one with those people. So I don't do business processing or anything like that. So it's just helping individuals be more organized so they can be more productive and,
Okay.
get more accomplished in a day.
Yeah. And you said you love working in kitchens and in organizing closets, was it?
Calendars.
Calendars. Oh yeah, tell us a little bit more about calendars.
Well, so I was thinking about that. So the kitchen is basically the heart of the home, as basically is our calendar, is our time. So I am a big proponent of doing things as efficiently and effectively as possible. And so I see a lot of time wasted. So I like to help people figure out their calendar, how they can group things together and maybe spend less time doing certain things and more times doing the things that they love to do or want to be doing. So
Yeah. Could you walk us through? I know this is impromptu, but walk us through some kind of exercise that you would do typically with somebody with regards to their calendar and how to organize it, whether it's digital or it's on paper.
sure. And actually I'm doing a presentation today on that exact topic, but
Oh,
I'll go through it real quick. So with organizing, whether it be your time or your space, it all starts with a vision. And so that's like where it starts. What do I want my time to look like? What do I want to spend it doing? Who do I want to spend it with? And so we always start with that. And then, everybody has, it can be a long process, a short process. Some people have goals, some don't. So we work on goals, how we're going to accomplish the goals. And then we literally sit down and block out the calendar and figure out when we have the time to do these things. And we also look at things that we're wasting time on. Like if you run to the store every day, or, are there things that you can do during that time that aren't, you get home, then you don't run to the gym, or, it's like consolidating. Batching is what it's called. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that's basically what we do, is just work through that process and just improve the day. The time
Sounds like something I need. You literally sound like a coach, only for organizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what coaches do in my field with health coaching, but we're basically setting the vision, the goals, then how to execute that. And then,
yeah, I try and ask good questions. Sometimes I ask a lot of questions, but it's important to know the answers, because everybody's calendar is not going to look the same, or everybody's kitchen's not going to look the same, because everybody's different and has different things that work for them.
Okay. Well, let's move to the kitchen. What are your favorite things to help people with in the heart of the home?
Oh, I just love it to be more efficient, easier to find things, consolidate when you can. I like for people not to have a junk drawer. I like it to be a utility drawer. So it's nice to be able to.
It reminds me of the time you came to my house and I had 3 junk drawers, and I'm like, oh, I'm pulling these 3 junk drawers over, and she's like, I don't really like the whole junk drawer idea. I'm like, I have to have one. So we consolidated down to 2 and made one.
And there's nothing wrong with having and it shouldn't be called a junk drawer. That's right. Just like giving it meaning that it's junk. But, a nice drawer where you can find like your batteries or your phone chargers, or, whatever you choose to keep in there. I have a hammer in mine. I have a few little nails, screwdrivers, pens, pencils, scissors, that kind of thing.
Right.
So my favorite thing about the kitchen is because it's the heart of the home, and why cook in a mess? So, finding places for things that make perfect sense, having a zone for where I prep my food and everything there that I need to do that, and a place where I cook and everything there that I need to do that. So rather than, I think my flowers over here, and it's not. So it's kind of like going into a grocery store And you know how a grocery store is organized? It has all the baking goods are here, all the produce is here, all the canned goods are here, and that's how we set up a kitchen. So it's kind of like shopping in your own kitchen. That's the food part, and then the dishes and stuff. So baking supplies, I would put my baking if there's room. Sometimes you have to work around the kitchen. It's not always perfect setup, but so baking bowls, things that I use to bake would all go together too. So, but it's always what works for each person.
Yeah. I remember you helping me convert a spice cabinet it was a spice cabinet, and you're like, you have plenty of room over here for your spices. So why don't we make this, we'll take out this shelf and we'll use this cabinet for all of your cookie sheets. Because my cookie sheets were just stacked up in a pantry somewhere and just all disheveled and a mess. And
yeah.
By the way, let's get rid of some that you're not using. And like
it's
that
definitely
too.
a domino effect, but it's like so worth it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what you allowed us to do was to give us the plan, and then I put the family to work executing the plan. So how do you operate now? What do you do for people? Is that
I still offer that because some people just want some direction. There's organized people that want help. So, and you weren't terribly disorganized. So but then I also work with people that just have, usually I start working with people that are overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. So we'll work together. I go see them for an assessment. They tell me what's working, what's not working, and we move forward from there. Some people like me there the entire time, and which is fine. And then sometimes I'll work with the client for 3 hours is my minimum, and then give them very specific homework to reach the goals that they're trying to reach. So, and sometimes, it's a kitchen usually takes several hours. It's like almost an all-day project. So, so that the kitchen's not a small thing.
No, and it's going to look like a war zone before it looks better.
Oh, always. Oh my gosh. I know it always. Yeah. So I always try and leave the house in working order before I go home if it takes more than one time. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about a time within the last 5 years that has really helped shape you into who you are today.
So in the last 5 years, 2 years ago, I fell off a Mayan ruin. It was probably 30 or 35 feet. I am lucky to be alive. I didn't walk away from that because I had a concussion. I couldn't even sit up straight. I felt like I was like literally falling down. So I spent the night in a Belizean hospital, and then the next morning, actually, I was released to go do the rest of our vacation. I didn't have a serious brain injury. And as far as we knew, no broken bones. I found out later I did have a compression fracture in my spine. But so we continued on that vacation, and my husband probably hasn't held my hand that much in a long time because it was really hard to stand upright.
Well, let's go back to the whole falling off of Mayan ruin, because you said that so fast and everybody's like, what? Can you walk us through what happened with that?
So actually, this is the story. We were coming down from the Mayan ruin, and my husband had the GoPro, and I said, you need to GoPro these steps. They're so huge. And I have really short legs. So he had his GoPro camera. He literally got a picture of what happened. And basically I looked up, stepped, and twirled and went off the step because there's no handrails, hit a terrace that was about 10 feet below with the back of my shoulders and my head, and then continued to tumble, I don't know, 30 feet. It was a long ways out and a long ways down is all I know.
That's so terrifying. Oh my gosh.
It was terrifying for my husband. I said, show me what happened. And of course he was yelling help in the background, and that traumatized me. I'm like, don't ever turn the sound on again. Because you think about what happened to me, but it was like, that had to be so traumatizing for my husband. And so I woke right up. He got down there, and I go, what happened? And And then it was quite an ordeal. We were in the jungle area of Belize, and so it took about an hour for the ambulance to get there. And luckily, this man came up to me and goes, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so." And I was like, "Wow, you got here really fast." And he's like, "Not that kind of doctor." So, but he was the minister of archaeology or something in Belize.
Oh,
And so I have made an international impact. They did put, I think they blocked that area off, and you can't walk down that way anymore. You have to walk just straight out to leave. Because
wow.
we literally were 2 steps away from actually leaving. And so it was, so anyway, lucky he was there. And then, so then I was taken to the hospital in the little town that we were in, where they checked me for broken bones and head trauma. And then it was an hour ride in an ambulance to Belize City, where I was seen by the doctors there. And actually, the doctor there has a niece that goes to Gonzaga.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And so, and then we were released, and we flew to San Pedro, and it wasn't the rest, the vacation we had imagined, but there was lots of rest and relaxation. So we still went snorkeling, and we didn't do the walk up the beach and visit all the bars because I was restricted from no margaritas or whatever they serve in Belize. And so basically that was my trip. We got back, and because I felt really good when I was there. And when I got back, I just started hurting, and I couldn't make sense of anything, any motion. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. I couldn't do anything.
Is it because you were trying to get back to life now that you're back in the States and the too much stimulants?
I think it's basically the shock had worn off. And Belize is I think they have magic air there. Like, I didn't hurt, and hung out in the ocean, and it's real humid there. So I really think it wasn't a bad place to be, but as soon as I got home, and it was probably sitting on the airplane for so long, it just all hit. And I spent months trying to figure out, how do I make my brain work again? And it's not a quick process. And the older you are, the harder it is on your brain. And so that's been 2 years, and I still struggle with, I call it concussion brain, days where I can't think, or I can't retrieve words, or, but I can always organize. It's kind of crazy. That's just like embedded in my brain. But sometimes thinking is tough. And so now I get what it's like to have a brain injury, and I have a lot more grace for other people that have them now too.
I bet.
Yeah.
So you took a while off of work, I would assume, to just heal.
I did. I was in pain, but so no, I did work with a couple organizing clients, but I didn't, I wasn't like, I don't know. I had a herniated disc the next year, so that was way worse than falling off a cliff. So yeah, I worked, but it just took a long time. It took a long time for me to give myself grace that I had no control over what my brain was doing, and that by trying to control it, I was causing it more harm than good. It just needed rest.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of the key to it, isn't it? Just complete brain rest. And that's so hard to do.
Oh, so hard to do.
Yeah. I have a friend who suffered from a concussion. She said that, who's the painter that paints on TV that from way back in the 70s with the afro? What was his name? I forget. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Yeah. I think that's who it is. Yeah.
She's like, he became my friend. I just lay on the couch and watch him, his soothing voice. And well, I would like to steer us back to your organizing skills and tell us a little bit about your most challenging job, if you can remember.
My most challenging job was basically, it wasn't really a job. It was, Hoarders came to Washington, the show Hoarders, and I was invited to be one of the the background organizers, because they have the main organizer and a psychiatrist, and so I had never experienced a hoarding home before, and I was pretty sure I didn't work with hoarding just because I don't really have the patience for it. And so but I wanted to do it for the experience, and it cemented the fact that I don't work with hoarders. And it was quite the experience. It was something I had never I'd seen it on TV, and I knew when I would watch hoarding on TV that it would make me real anxious, which was another reason I was pretty sure I didn't want to work with that population. But that was an interesting.
What was it like to work behind the scenes of the show?
Well, in a way, I guess we in a way worked with the client, but most of the time, I think it was Dorothy was there. She worked with the client, but it's overwhelming. Like when I first walked in, I tried to walk over things and they said, don't even bother. You couldn't. It was just a floor of stuff. And luckily it was a clean hoard. So it wasn't some of them you see on TV that are just, dead animals and stuff like that. But it was an eye opener, and I understand it. I mean, I get it, because it's literally a psychological issue, and it manifests itself in things. And so, unfortunately, here in Spokane, we don't have people that work with hoarders. So, it's kind of, and there are hoarders, so it's a tough situation. So,
yeah. Well, what are some advice that you have for those of us who maybe haven't opened up certain closets or drawers in many years, or not that we're hoarders, but we just kind of ignored the fact that there's this closet under the stairs that really needs help?
Right.
What's the first step we can just take in getting things done?
Well, I always ask, how important is it? I mean, is living life right now most important? During this COVID thing, it's the perfect time to purge, and well, not purge because you kind of have to keep your stuff, but to go through those closets that you haven't looked at for a while. So I'm always about living life, making sure that I'm living my life, and then maybe pick one spot that I'm going to add to my life to work on, so that I like to call it right size my home, because we all should live in right size home. We shouldn't get old and say, I need to downsize. It should be a continual process where we're only living with the things that we need.
I love that. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Adam and I've never upgraded our home because we have done a good job of over the years continually getting rid of things that we didn't need. And we're holding on to a few things for potential grandkids down the road, but it's nothing we can't handle in terms of space. So I totally get what you're saying. It's like, don't get bigger just because you have more stuff, right?
Right. Or more space. Because if you get, we'll fill our spaces. I oftentimes will have clients say, but there's a space there now. But that's okay. You don't have to fill every space. I mean, sometimes I think that that's what we think we need to do. And it's not a weird way of thinking, but it's, in all reality, we don't have to fill up every space we have.
Oh yeah, it's probably a good thing that I have a teeny tiny walk-in closet that I can't fill, because if I could, then I probably would be a little bit more in debt.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
So yeah. So one thing people think if they have an organizer come over, they're going to make me get rid of everything. I've left people's homes where the garbage has one thing in it. So it's a process, and I don't ever jump on anybody or hold them down and say, you have to get rid of that. We'll discuss it. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. And so it's a process. And then sometimes they get to the point where they start throwing everything away. And then I have to say, whoa, let's think more about that. So before we actually throw that out. So
you bring up a good point about misconceptions. What are some other misconceptions people have about what you do or organizing in general?
That my house is perfectly organized and neat and tidy.
It looks pretty good in the background there.
So I'm going to say, so when I grew up, my little sister, I told my little sister when I started my business, I'm going to be a professional organizer. And she said, you? because she had grown up seeing my bedroom. So I was always organized, but I was not necessarily neat and tidy. And still to this day, sometimes I'll find 4 pairs of shoes under the coffee table because I am too lazy to take them upstairs. But the thing is, I have a place for them. So it's easy just to put them away when I actually take them with me. So they have a place to go. So I have places, my house is organized, but I'm not going to say it's like not something you're going to see in a magazine or, or anything like that. So
I think hiring you was really good for our marriage because Adam is such an organizer and loves to have things in its place. And I can get by with things being more disheveled or a little bit out of place. And so when I was the one who initiated hiring you to come over and do that work, it was just like a breath of fresh air for him because the kitchen is his, like we walk through the kitchen. It's a galley kitchen. You walk through it to get to, like you said, it's the heart of the home. It's everything. And so to have it be everything in its place to him was like, oh, feels so good. Yeah. So I think it's good for couples to consider who values that more and maybe even gift it to that person if you don't value it as much.
Right. But make sure the person you're gifting it to really wants that gift. Some take it very personally and think it's something against how they maintain the house, or so it has to be something really that they're on board with. So that's one thing you'll have to ask. Can I get you this present? Because it's sometimes a tough one. But I have had people buy me for Christmas presents. So yeah, for their spouses. Yeah, that sounds weird, but it was for organizing. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you have a good point. I bet that is a sensitive space for people.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And I've had a lot of people say that, like, oh, but how do I approach the subject? Or, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that you're in this COVID time and things have been a little bit more crazy, just self-isolating, how has your life changed in ways that you didn't expect?
Well, actually mine's gotten quieter because we're empty nesters. So it's just my husband and I, and he goes to work all day. So I'm here. I am in the process of creating an online platform though, where you can purchase organizing products. So basically do it yourself products. The first one I'm starting on is a closet product. So I've had lots of time to work on that. We're not essential, so we haven't, we're not allowed to go in other people's homes. I can help virtually, however, so we can do a FaceTime or something like that, where you show me your space and I can walk you through it or walk through it with you. So there's always that option. And and then I would pick my granddaughter up every day from school, and I'm not doing that now. So I have these extra, 3 hours at the end of the day that I actually have time to get work done, but I'm going a little stir crazy. So
yeah, I bet you miss her.
Oh, I miss her an awful lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say to heck with COVID on April 26th and gave her a hug because it was her birthday. I'm like, I'm hugging you. Don't breathe. That's what I said. So yeah.
Oh, I know. Life's too short, I think.
It is, yeah.
I mean, that seems like I shouldn't make that joke because this disease could end your life, but it's still like, I'd rather hug my grandchild or my child than worry about this. But I know other people have different opinions, so we won't go there.
Right. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. How can people get a hold of you, Cindy, if they want to talk to you or get some information?
So my phone is 509-710-9853. And you can also email me at, we'll just say cvanhoff42@gmail.com, because I like to go in and mess up my emails on occasion. I try and fiddle with technology, and definitely I need to hire somebody to do that for me. So Gmail always seems to make it through. So yeah. And then what is it's, then I'm on Facebook as well. I always forget what I named it because somebody took the name Reclaim Spaces. Reclaim Spaces Organizing Solutions is what it is. And then, yeah, that's about it. I have a website. It's an old website. It's under construction, but you can still go there and you can contact me that way too.
Okay. And are you on Instagram?
I'm there, but kind of not much there.
Yeah.
I have an account. I check it on occasion.
So today you're going to be talking to a bunch of ladies at NAVO online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 4:00, and it's open to anybody. It's NAVO Northwest on Facebook, and the Zoom link's in there, but it's about creating a routinely productive week. So it's basically walking you through how I plan my week with a calendar. And yeah, it's basically what I do every week for myself. Yeah.
Do you want to give us a little snapshot into what you're going to be talking about?
Well, so I talk about kind of starting at the end, like looking over what you've done and what you haven't done, and then going from there. In all reality, like I said, it starts with the vision. Like, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get done this week? And, it's not just a one and done question. You ask yourself that all the time. And so reviewing what we've been doing, what's working, what's not working, that's where we start, and then just move forward. It's a short presentation. It's only like 20 minutes. So I talk a little bit about time blocking, about I forget words, batching, and then and just putting your calendar together, basically.
Yeah. For me,
the foundation.
I decided to write myself a little list of things I had to do, and then I numbered them in order of importance so that I made sure that I didn't miss anything, but that brain dump onto paper was really helpful in organizing my thoughts. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, getting it. And yeah, that's one thing I tell everybody, get it out of your head. Your head was not meant to hold that much stuff. Oh, yeah. It really wasn't. If you ever read David Allen's books, he is a big proponent of writing things down. And, our brains, these days, there's so much activity around us. Our brains they're not meant to remember to get toilet paper or, or I don't know. They're just not meant. That's what paper and pencil are for, or apps or whatever. Get it out of your head so you can concentrate on the things that are really important, because our brains really, in all reality, only have so much bandwidth. And you know what it's like when you just can't think anymore. Your brain's done. It's just done. So I talk about batching and, how we can be kind to our brains, and so that they can be more helpful to us.
Well, and you know a lot about that now. Not that you didn't know that before, but you were a living experiment to yourself.
That's the truth. Yeah. And the big part with the concussion is giving myself grace. It's like you are not in control, Cindy, as much as you like to try and be. And I know with routines and organizing, it's, some of it's, I like that control, but it's because there's so much, like most of the things are out of my control. So why not control the things I can, or do my best at controlling them, and move forward from there.
Yeah. It's like the serenity prayer. God grant me oh gosh, what does it start like? To grant me the things that I can control. Grant me oh gosh, why am I totally flubbing it up? But I don't look at it every day. Anyways, kind of what you were saying. Just do the things you can control and stop worrying about the things you can't, because then your brain is just in this constant state of stress.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. And there's other health implications from stress. So so we want to minimize that as much as possible. And I think that's what routines do. Yeah. So some people say routines are boring, and some of them are. Like, I don't enjoy brushing my teeth every day, every night. That's routine, but I do it because I need to. So
yeah, and it's just being habits, and those take a while to form. But
totally, yeah.
But again, it goes back to understanding the value in it for you, and is it something important to you? that so going back to putting down that broader vision, and does that goal really resonate with your values? And then looking at it and seeing if that's something you want to implement. And if you do, then it's routine, having to implement it every day so that you get that habit formed.
It's the difference of living your life by default and living your life by design. And I lived my life by default for a long, long time. And I want people to learn way earlier than I did that that's not necessarily, that's not the good way to do it. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like right now it's a little bit living by default just because the kids are home. And I was used to a routine before, and now it's constant interruptions. And so you're not used to that, but you do your best, right? In that. And I think that goes to talking to your family about, if they're old enough to understand, saying, I'm working right now, and so please don't bother me. But I feel for those moms that have toddlers that just don't have help right now because of what we're going through. So
I know it's certainly a change in atmosphere for a lot of people, and it's stressful. So if you can get as much routine into your day, it helps everybody, because everybody, especially like the kids, I think they feel a little bit safer. They know what's coming. They know what's, we're going to do. And I'm not saying be strict and like, we're going to do this at 10 and this at, but at least having some structure throughout the day. Like go play from 10 to 2. So not really, but it's just, I think structure is helpful in difficult situations for sure. I know it is, actually.
Yes. Well, even in real life, when we aren't living like we are right now, structure will allow you to have the time to do the organizing that we want to do. One project I've wanted to get to for years and never made the time for is once iPhones came out, all those photos are stuck on iPhone rather than having gone and printed them. So I would love to print those and actually put them into books so that my daughters have them on their graduation days coming.
Yeah.
One of them's graduating from high school next year. So like, I got to catch up on that, but it's a matter of prioritizing and figuring it out. Maybe doing a little bit.
And sometimes if you can just do it little bits, everybody's different. I like to do things in big chunks, but some people are okay with doing it an hour a day, or, just going through your photo roll and picking out, pictures, deleting pictures. We're all on our phones enough. We could just sit and do that,
Yeah.
It's kind of mindless. Not really, but it is in a way.
Yeah. So. Put on some good music and start organizing. That's another thing too, is organizing files on your computer, because there's so many things that could be labeled differently, or files that are not in the right place. And that can take a lot of time too, but it's so worth it in the end. And uploading those to the cloud and knowing that you're not going to lose stuff.
Yes, that's basically your new file cabinet. So it should, and if you have a paper file cabinet, it should match that. Not a lot of people have a lot of paper anymore, but you want to take that time to, it's easy to make sure it goes in the right file, but you do have to set up a good filing system first. And that's knowing what you have and then, going from there, and what do I need and what makes sense to me. Yeah. Filing's a tough one, because I used to actually struggle with filing because I wanted to break everything down. And it's like, you don't need to do that. I was making it way more difficult than it needed to be. And so, I'm not an organizer where, like, let's say we put nail polish together and it all has to stand up and color coded or whatever. If it falls over, it falls over. I'm a proponent of actually throwing all my nail polish in a basket, and that's where my nail polish is. So, and then I'll get what I need when I need it. So,
right. I do the same thing with nail polish, at least. But the other day, you'll be so proud of me, I actually organized my drawers, and then I labeled them with my label maker. So I feel so good about it. Feels so organized, and man, now I know how to find things a lot easier. It's pretty incredible when you go through your old files and you're like, that's where that piece of paper.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all make mistakes. We all get them in the wrong file and find them years later, like, oh, there's that piece of paper I was looking for. But
Yeah.
that was my very first client was somebody who hired me because he couldn't find a check. And he said and he found it and he's like, this was worth it all. He was like, this is not okay. I can't find it. Can't find my check. So that was my very first client. It was, and they were wonderful people. So I was blessed by that for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so thankful to have been blessed by your coming into my house, and I hope you guys could reach out to Cindy if you have any questions about your home and or organizing your workspace or whatever it is, especially during these times when your workspace might be in your bedroom right now and it normally wasn't, and you're used to working at an office and now it's all at your home. So she's willing to work virtually right now, of course, because we're not considered essential. She's not considered essential worker, and neither am I yet as a health coach. So
nope.
All that
in
virtual.
June, will you be?
I think June 1st. Yeah.
June 1st. Yeah. Okay.
How about you?
I'm pretty sure June 1st, but I should probably double check on that. I know my hairdresser is available June 1st. Well, she's going back to work June 1st. And I said, I dibs June 1st, 10 o'clock, June 1st. I'm so excited.
My hairdresser got a license in Idaho and she got a chair in Idaho. So I have May 22nd.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like,
that was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to wait a little longer. Up with my little gray halo.
Oh, I know. I'm doing a good job of covering it up with this like stick thing that I have. I don't even know what it's called. Tween time. TWEEN time.
Oh yeah.
It looks like this giant crayon, and you get it wet and you just paint your hair.
Oh really?
It works like a charm.
Yeah, I've hair chalk, and that makes my hair feel weird, but I don't care right now. I'm using it.
I know, especially for times when you got to be on Zoom calls and you're giving a presentation later. You're like, I want to look like my best, but
I know, yeah.
We all understand. We're in the same boat together.
We are, we're all in the same boat together. So, yeah.
And thank you so much for being here today, Cindy, and giving us your wise words. And good luck on your presentation later today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You bet.
Yeah.
Have an awesome Thursday.
You too. Good to talk to you. Bye.
You too. Bye.